Pokémon Champions is coming out next month, and a lot of people are excited for it. This game promises to make team building and battling more accessible to a wider community, making training Pokémon more seamless, and bringing competitive Pokémon to our phones. We even have our first online tournament announced for the start of May. Today I want to explain what I would do to prepare for the launch of Pokémon Champions next month. A lot of things I talk about here are specifically for VGC/double battles. If you play singles, you can do the same things that I'm saying here, but just switch out some of the Pokemon that I'm talking about. I don't know what's strong in singles. But without further ado, let's go. The first thing you can do as a player is to catch and prepare Pokemon to be transferred into Champions. This is obviously best if you have a Switch and a couple Pokemon games, but if you don't have that, you can still catch Pokemon in Pokemon Go and transfer them to Pokemon Home. The Pokemon that I want you to be looking out for are what I call timeless Pokemon. These are Pokemon that are pretty much always strong in battles. I've got a list of about 40 Pokemon that I consider to be timeless, which I'll leave a document for in the description. Just keep in mind that we don't know the regulation rules yet, we don't know which Pokemon are legal, which Pokemon are actually going to be in Champions, so some of these Pokemon might not be available. The list I've made does not include any legendaries or paradox Pokemon, since I don't think they'll be legal in the first format. All we know right now is that Mega Pokemon are going to be legal, and the format is going to be called Regulation MA. To make the list a bit more simple, I'm going to break down the most important Pokemon for specific kinds of players. For Trick Room players, having the best 3 Trick Room setters in the game, being Porygon 2, Indeedee and Farigiraf, is a must. As well as some Pokemon that can capitalize off that. Torkoal, Ursaluna, those kinds of things. For Tailwind players, the same is also true. You want the best Tailwind setter, that being Whimsicott with its Prankster ability, and you also want Pokemon that can capitalize off your Tailwind. Things like Hydreigon, Goldengo, Basculegion, those kinds of things. There's also a base of support Pokemon that everyone needs, those being Incineroar, Amoonguss, Rillaboom, just to name a few. I also have a section where I list which Mega Pokemon were the strongest in the past, just in case you wanted to prepare some Megas as well. Another thing I'd recommend is catching every single Pokemon that received a new Mega Evolution in Legends ZA. We still don't know their abilities right now, so there could be some Pokemon that you don't really expect to be crazy, but they're absolutely insane. There's definitely going to be a few Pokemon that surprise us and are very strong. I might be completely wrong with this, but I think that Mega Starmie, Mega Feraligatr, and Mega Dragonite are 3 Pokemon that we need to watch out for. If these Pokemon get some busted abilities, I can see them being staples of the metagame. You can also catch all the old Megas, but just know that some of them suck. All of what I've just said assumes that we're going to get Pokemon Home compatibility for Champions on day 1. It's most likely not happening, but it's still nice to have a collection of Pokemon that when home compatibility is available, you can just transfer them into Champions and have some fun. Just catch them in whatever ball you want. You can also EV train them, but that's not essential. What I recommend doing is making a couple of boxes in Pokemon Home that are specifically for Pokemon that you want to use in Champions. It just makes everything easier and you can just freely transfer them, you don't have to worry about finding your Pokemon and it just makes everything easier. If you're still a bit lost on which Pokemon you should catch and get ready for Champions, I'm going to give you 9 Pokemon that I think everyone should be using. These are the most important Pokemon. The ones that are versatile and the ones that are just broken. Number 1 is Incineroar. I don't need to say much. Incineroar is just crazy. Fake Out, Parting Shot, put on safety goggles, put on Assault Vest, put on, I don't even know, Mirror Herb. You can give him whatever you want. He's very strong, he's very broken. He's probably the best Pokemon that has ever existed. The support it can offer is just unmatched, and there's no doubt in my mind that Incineroar is going to be meta. If you don't think Incineroar is going to be meta, you're a little bit crazy. It has also been confirmed to be in Champions, with it being shown in one of the trailers. Number 2 is Rillaboom. The same things are here. Fake Out is great, Grassy Glide is crazy, Grassy Terrain is also amazing. Rillaboom has just been a mainstay in competitive Pokemon since it got the ability Grassy Surge, and it's good in any format it's played in. Whimsicott is something you should also be training. We've also seen this guy in an official trailer, so we know that he's confirmed in the game. Especially if you enjoy playing Tailwind teams, this Pokemon having the Prankster ability is gonna help you out so much. And the other support moves it gets are great at hindering and annoying your opponents. If I can think off the top of my head, we have Encore, we have Taunt, we have Sunny Day, we have Endeavor. There's so many support moves that this Pokemon can learn. I even used a Whimsicott with Charm before to help annoy physical attackers. This Pokemon is so versatile and so annoying to play against. FarangjakeVGC has become a mainstay of Trick Room teams, and it's a Pokemon that I feel is insane in the right hands. It was also shown in a trailer, so we know it should be coming out on launch, if not very soon after launch. Amoonguss is one of the best support Pokemon of all time. Being super slow, it works extremely well in Trick Room. On top of this, Amoonguss is pretty bulky and it has the move Spore. It can easily become a menace when neglected. Ursaluna's here as well. He works very well in low power formats, he works very well in high power formats. It's extremely versatile, and we know that this Pokemon is also in the game. How many times am I going to say versatile today? I feel like I've said this about 100 times already. The last 3 Pokemon I have are going to be 3 Mega Pokemon that were very strong in the past, those being Mega Kangaskhan, Mega Salamence, and Mega Charizard Y. Kangaskhan's ability, Parental Bond, was so broken in Generation 6 that they had to nerf it in the following generation. Salamence gets to do crazy flying type damage with its ability Aerialate, which changes all normal type moves into flying type moves, meaning you can use moves like Hyper Voice and Double Edge as insanely hard hitting flying type moves. Mega Charizard Y is also essential for Sun teams, being the Sun Setter with its ability Drought, while also being the Sweeper, launching insanely powerful Heat Waves. They were just some of the best Megas at the time, winning huge tournaments and just being menaces. I don't really expect that to change too much. I still expect these Pokemon to be meta staples, even with the addition of new Megas. This one's a bit more obvious, but you should also just bring whatever Pokemon that you like or you think are cool or whatever cool shinies you have. Not every team has to be the 6 most meta Pokemon. If that was the case, we wouldn't have seen Rabombi win a huge tournament last year. We still don't know what the format's going to look like, which Pokemon are legal, what we're going to do with that. And it's going to take a few weeks for us to figure out which Pokemon are the best in that specific format. So while people are figuring that out, go for it, have some fun, see where it goes, see what team you can build. For me, that special Pokemon is Hisui and Samurott. It was the MVP of my first ever tournament, and that's saying something. This Pokemon sucks, but I still love it. Okay, so it's been about 2 weeks since I have actually recorded this video. I had to go on the day of filming. That's why my clothes are different. That's why, goddamn, everything's different. So let's just get back into it. And if you really want to be cool, you can also shiny hunt for the Pokemon you want to transfer. I love a good shiny Pokemon. I love how it can just make the Pokemon feel a bit more unique. I know that they're not that rare anymore, but it just, I don't know, it just feels special to me. If you're not gonna get anything else from this video, I think that this is the most important thing for preparing for champions. Learn the basics of battling. If it's your first time playing competitive Pokemon, learning how double battles work will give you a head start over people who are just starting to learn when Champions drops. You don't need a Switch for this too. Just hop onto Pokemon Showdown, find a pre-built team online, and just hop on the ladder a little bit. There's a huge difference between watching someone play and actually playing for yourself. Not having someone there who's gonna explain every move to you, explain what they're doing, why they're doing it, how they're doing it. You're gonna feel a bit lost, and that's okay. This game has a pretty steep learning curve, but it's one of those games where as you get better, as you start to understand more of the game, that's when you get to really see how good this game is. And getting that little head start over newer players that are just starting when Champions drops is going to be amazing to just make sure you hit the ground running. It could also be quite important to find your specific playstyle. Knowing what specific teams you enjoy and what works well for you can definitely help a lot when the game comes out. When Scarlet and Violet first released, the meta was a little bit crazy. Everyone was trying out different things and there was a lot of innovation at that time. There were obviously Pokemon that were considered to be good by everyone, those being things like Goldengo and Meowscarada. Knowing what has worked well for you in the past can really help when you don't know where to start when building a new team. To prepare for Birmingham Regionals this year, I tested over 50 different teams. Most of them were terrible, but with all the knowledge I learned testing all these different teams, I was able to settle on the 6 Pokemon and the team that I really wanted to use. Of course, you don't have to test 50 plus teams to figure out a team that you like. Even just testing out 5 teams will give you a little bit of knowledge of which Pokemon you like, which Pokemon you don't like. It just helps you understand yourself as a player. And eventually you're going to have a little checklist of things that you want on a team, and this is going to help you out when you're either building your own teams or when you're using a pre-made team. If you want to see a video covering the best regional forms in competitive Pokemon history, click the video attached to this one, and thank you for watching.